Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Yes, it is Sunday night and it is time for another live stream talking more nonsense around drones and FPV because that's what I do. Anyway, tonight we're going to talk a bit about the new upcoming HDZero goggles. Ryan has put a video out officially announcing that they are coming. I did know about this. I have known about this. Yes, I lied to you last week. Yes, but that's the way it works. However, yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about that. No, I will not be going through the manual. I will wait until they arrive, and then I will be giving you a review on that. We're also going to talk about this really interesting mesh system and this new race VRX that they've got coming as well. We are going to talk a little bit about 04 because I've been flying it. I managed to get, I think, 12 packs through 04 today. Just starting to really now get dry days where I can get out and have a play with it. I've also been doing some testing around field of view so I can get a proper understanding of the differences, the modes behave, and just get into grips with how 04 is, because for me it released in the middle of a period where I just couldn't fly. We're also going to discuss a little bit around just the end of 03 and the Cadex Vista Runcam link, because they are over. There's never going to be a big announcement about this, but the basics are you can't buy 03s, you can't buy Vista links. It is end of the road for these products. 04 is the replacement. I see a lot of people ask questions like, you know, are they around? DJI is never going to announce what that is. They're just going to move on. There is some news on the OpenIPC WifiLink world because Runcam and Emax have put out some hints as well. I'm not at all shocked Runcam have. I think they're probably sitting here desperate to find something to replace the Vista, the air unit, because it's over. You know, DJI are not going to continue to make these products. It's game over for these. So they are probably now going to go full pelt into their Wi-Fi based systems. And there is talk of Emax even bringing out a set of goggles, but temper your expectations. Emax have made goggles in the past. I suspect they're going to bring out something like a very budget goggle, as like they have for analog, because they have released a couple of budget goggles in that world as well. And we will talk about anything else that comes up along the way too. And we're going to hope tonight's live stream works, because I have had some issues over the last week or two as well. Now, hello to everyone. I hope everyone who is in the chat is good. As I've said, to start this, I'm just going to talk a little bit about 04, actually, because I finally started to get some flight time on it down the beach, in good light, in low light. I've also spent the day having a bit of a mess around with the different field of views as well, just to understand the difference in field of view between wide, the super wide, wide. It's not a lot in it, actually, when you look at the field of view difference between wide and super wide. It's not as much as people think. It's about that much on the side of the screen when you look at it online. And just trying to get a grips to it. But I have to say, it is incredible how good 04 looks. And I mean, it's actually insane when you really start to play with it and get to grips. And really look at how good the image quality is in the goggles. It is insane when you start looking at it. And I've got some footage up here, which is some of my, look, this is all my test footage from today, because I was doing field of view checks, and that's what all of these are from today. But some of this down here was some basic flight tests in quite low light over the beach. And you can see here what I'm actually, the reason this footage is quite interesting is what you're looking for is the detail in the water and things like this. And this is SD card footage, right? But we'll move over to look at the goggles recorded footage in a minute. And like, if you just look at the detail in the water and everything here in the SD card footage, it looks really, really nice. What's incredible is the fact that that is there in the goggles as well. And when we start looking at this in the goggles footage, this is the same footage, but from the goggles side. Let me just get it down to the water. When you start looking at the detail in the water, you start looking at the reflections and everything. It's insane. It is, there's just no compression here at all in DJI now. It is mental how good it is. The detail that is in this, it's just insane when you really start to play with it. Yeah, and you're looking here at a playback over the stream, so I don't even know how it looks. But when you start really looking into the footage and looking at all the reflections in the water, it's crazy how DJI have been able to do it. Yeah, the dynamic range is a huge step up. The sun had gone down by this point, so it's quite dark here. Yeah, this should all be mush. And look, this is goggles footage, as you can see. But it's just incredible how good the codec is in 04. It looks more representative when you pause it. Yeah, it's just... When you go back to anything else... you know, even here, look, you can even see the ripples. That's a distance, and you can even see the ripples in the shadows as it's chasing that shadow up there. And this isn't even as good as it looks in the goggle, if I'm honest. In the goggle, it just looks insane. Basically the same camera as the Action 4, yeah, I think I was... What I was trying to do in these flights is just come low. Like, look at the shadows there. Look at it. The reflections. It's mad. It's actually mad. I'm going to move myself over a little bit. It's crazy. And, you know, don't get me wrong. Compression will happen at some point. But today, there's nothing that gets near this. That you, until you really start to fly it, you really don't realize how good it looks. It really is crazy. We're at a stage of I don't really know where we go from here, if I'm honest now, with regards to DJI anyway. You know, how we move forward now, I don't know. You know, what we're going to do 2.7K, 4K live feed. I just don't know how you top this from an image quality point of view. This is quite low light. The sun had gone down quite quickly. And even the detail in the rock, it's all there. It's all there. And this is where I really... Because all of this is repeating high-frequency detail. And one of the reasons I do these tests at places like this on purpose is this is as hard as it gets. You know, this is real high-frequency detail. You're getting a bit of breakup as I'm pausing it in the app, but yeah, it just bonkers, just absolutely bonkers. It really is, and the SD card looks even better. You know, that's the goggles footage. When you jump into the SD card at this point, the detail in it here is just insane. Let me do that run again. So this was with I haven't rock steadied this, so I was coming in as low as I could just to try and get as much. It's just freaking crazy. 4K 100. 4K 100. If you go to tools, media, metadata, codec, 4K, 3840 by 2160, 100 frames a second. Someone's asked, how drastic is the quality difference in Goggles 2 and Goggles 3? It's not drastic, but it's noticeable if you really look for it. I think it's also stepping the codec down a bit. It's not just about the bit rate. I noticed it when I flew the Avata 2. It's minor. It's really minor, but it is noticeable. It just that. There's nothing that comes close. And all I was doing is, when I'm ever doing testing, I tend to, I'm pushing it into certain ways. So I'm going. So megabits a second wise, yes, this is yeah. I get 50 meg. I'm getting 100 megabits a sec, 60 megabits a second at this point. You can see some little rocks there. 60 on G3. Yeah, this is all done on G3. Yeah, it was a nice day today. We actually had a nice day. I had enough time. I think yeah, this is where I decided time to come back in. Battery was coming down, so it was let's bring it back around. Look at that water. I did have a bit more lighter flights. Is that the light one? Let me just have a look. One of these was a first flight. Yeah, in lightweight. This is actually the first flight on this 04 build. This is Chris Ross's AOS 5 frame. Non-stabilised. You're looking at non-stabilised footage here. So this is Ross's frame. AOS 5. You might notice it looks a little bit hazy. I had a fingerprint on the lens that I didn't realise the first time. And it has a little bit of a haze to it. And I noticed it when I turned around. It just didn't look as clear than it should have. And I was like, what's going on? This doesn't look right. You can see... and then you sort of see it. It looks a little bit overly hazy when I look back at it. And yeah, the lens was dirty. You'll start to see it here in the middle. There's like a fuzz over the lens, and there was a fingerprint right on the middle of it the first time, which I hadn't taken into account. But yeah, I was just looking around. The only problem with flying here is if I lose it, it's game over. But this was the first flight on Chris Ross's build. I was just taking it easy, and then I was just trying to get some footage in. No touch the. Yeah, I don't know how the fingerprint got on there, if I'm honest. I don't know how the fingerprint got on there. I took the lens cover off and it was on there already. I think I put the lens cover back on. Just that water. Look at that water. And the sand. So, 04, unbelievable. The truth is, there's just nothing that comes close image-wise. Really is, other than the Avata 2, obviously. A little off topic, but is there a way to stream a video out on your goggles to a monitor? Yes, with Cosmo Streamer. I actually have a video on Cosmo Streamer coming this week. I have to say on 04 as well, on Ross's frame, looked really... how do you compare the 03 to 04? 04 is definitely a step ahead. And you don't realise how far it is until you fly it. You don't realise. You fly it and then you fly 03 and you just see the differences. You really do. 03 looks amazing in great light. Put 03 in bright sunshine, it looks phenomenal. Shove it in this. Sorry. Shove it in this, it'll look like crap. it will look like absolute garbage. In bright sunlight, 03 will look really good. And I have some amazing 03 footage as well. It's not that 03 was bad. But yeah, I was doing some field of view checks. So all of this was just to understand the differences in field of views. The nice thing I found with 04, I got a video coming on this, is you only actually get the field of view difference between wide and super wide. What's nice is there's no shifts in field of view in any of the recording modes. So the field of view is the same. One thing I am a little surprised at on 04 is you don't lose any field of view by turning on Rocksteady. I was surprised that. I was expecting Rocksteady to crop in a touch. With Rocksteady off in wide, you don't gain any field of view. Now, it's there when you actually shove it into Gyroflow. You get the extra width that is available, but it isn't there in normal viewing. The normal view is no different between having wide mode on and off, Gyroflow on and off. I'm a little surprised at that. I was expecting it to crop in with Gyroflow. Yeah, but 04 light field of view is difficult. Yeah. Same. I think it means that it's always cropped in a bit. Yeah, exactly, Ciari. I was expecting wide to crop out with Gyroflow, with a Rocksteady off, and crop in a little bit with Rocksteady on. But it doesn't. So you don't gain field of view with Rocksteady off. What's nice is you're not messing around with different field of views. So if you actually record 2 pieces of footage and you want to manually stabilize, your field of view is the same, which is good to see. But yeah, pretty good. And you definitely gain some extra vertical in 4x3. It's not just a squash either. I was trying to look at this just to make sure that it wasn't the same. So for instance, if I go on here, if you look here, now these are the footage where the quad doesn't move. So this is me doing the field of view testing. So if you look here, those 2 stones there is pretty much the bottom of the image. Whereas if we go down to the first 4x3, that is those 2 stones there. So you definitely gain vertical resolution. You don't gain horizontal. There's no increase in horizontal resolution in it in 4x3 wide. 4x3. But there is in vertical resolution. So you can see there you gain from there all the way down. Pretty straightforward. And you gain vertical as well. So the 4x3 definitely gains a bit. If you actually look at the difference between wide and super wide, it's actually surprising how little it is. So if you look on wide, right, you can see here the edges of those bushes and that little lump there, okay? So the edge of that bush and that little lump there. And if I now find the super wide, is it that? Nope, it's not that. Let me just find the super wide. It might be that one. Yes. So that's the super wide. So if you remember earlier, we were there and that lump there. So that lump there was that edge. So you gain from there to there and you gain from there to there. So pretty much there to there, there to there. That's the difference in what you gain on super wide. It's not that much. It really isn't as much as you think on the super wide. But obviously the super wide does give, it completely barrels out the lens on the super. So yeah, you do you do gain a little bit, but that much either side of the image. But it does stretch the image out as well in the super wide. I'm not sure I'd use the super wide. If I'm honest, I think I'd just use wide. I flew in wide. I didn't fly in anything but wide. Wide is about perfect. But yeah, really, look, there's nothing crazy in the field of views. I was doing all of that testing. It took forever to collate all of this today because these are all 30-second clips, pretty much. So, and then I went on to do a bunch of flights. But yeah, so pretty good. Pretty good indeed. So that's really all there is to say with DJI 04. One thing just to note, if you do want video output on 04, not Gyroflow, Cosmo Streamer works absolutely fine with Goggles 3 and 04. I have a video this week coming on Cosmo Streamer for those who don't use it or have not used it. Cosmo Streamer is by far the best way to get HDMI output on DJI 03 and 04. If we go to that one there, you can buy the license for it or you can build the unit yourself. So I'll show you how to build the unit. So if you go here, you buy the license for $150 or you can buy the whole unit. I think it is for $269. The 150, it'll cost you about $200 all in to build yourself a Cosmo Streamer kit, and it works phenomenally well. My God, it's got some features because it's more than just HDMI output. It's a Wi-Fi streaming device, full professional video out setup. HDMI output, full online streaming. You can put your own logos, overlays. You can have multiple display outputs. You can view online stream at the same time as HDMI out. It's an incredible piece of software. It really is. For the $150, it's an absolute no-brainer. I think the price is the price the same for the V2. It's incredible. It really is. Now, the license key for the V2s is only $25, but you don't get 03 and 04 on that. On the Goggles 2, Goggles Integra 3 and N3, it's $150. And it's really good value. It really is. It's a lot cheaper than the DJI RC Pro, put it that way. And you get a lot of nice features for that money as well if you've not used it. So, yeah, definitely the best way to get video out on DJI. Okay. I took my 04 on Saturday in the and the latency blur is noticeable. 03, you seem to fly fast with 04. It's more like a Vista with true HD clarity. Yeah. It's there is an issue in the FPV where we're so used to open source projects. A lot seem to think it's expensive, but those who need it, it's a cracking bit of kit for the price. 100% agree. Look, it's interesting. I get comments like this on videos when I've talked about the Voltara, when I've talked about Kiss Ultra. I put the Kiss video out this week. And people keep saying, after BL Heli situation, I'd have thought you wouldn't promote anything closed sourced again. I fully support closed source products. I have no issues with closed source. There is room for everything in FPV. Yes, the BL Heli situation wasn't ideal, but no one was ripped off. No one was left with something that didn't work. All ESCs worked. I would rather the firmware had been left up and people could update. But other than that, all those ESCs continued to work as they did the day they were bought. No one was left in a bad position. It was more that it wasn't available anymore. You'd have to use something else. And look, I like the Voltara a lot. I like the Kiss Ultra a lot. I'm fully on board with closed source if it's good. Have you done latency tests on 04? Whether the latency stays low till bad signal? Latency will be variable. It will. The second bitrate starts to drop, latency will move around. It is almost impossible to really track that. Yes, I had a look at. I actually flew a pre-release of the SFSOC. 1 second. These two, you mean? So here is the first SFOC, and I drowned it in the sea. Unfortunately, that was the 50 amp. This one got completely mullered in the ocean. But I do have the second one, which has been in a build. I've taken it out a minute because I took it all out a minute. I had no issues with it at all. No problems at all. It needs to go back in a build. I need to find my alpha flight controller. My alpha seems to have vanished, and I don't know why. But yeah, there is the SFOC. I just don't know where my alpha one disappeared to. The 50 was fine, and look, it ended up in the ocean through no fault of its own. That was the Express ELRS failsafe that I had. Does it behave, feel any different? I'm not skilled enough to sit there and say, if you were a top-end racer, would you feel any different? Because I'm not. It flew fine for me. I had no complaints. Just like the Voltara flies really fine for me. What I always look for is, look, when you're looking at an ESC, you start on... it's not pilot error when it fail-safes into the ocean. If it fail-safes into the sea, you can't control that at that point. It's definitely worth a try. I need to put the 60 back in and give it another try again. I haven't updated the firmware on this for some times. Why did it fail safe? Because of a bad receiver in the end, which I ended up putting in fucking burning. I had a bad receiver from Flywoo, which was fail safe in at about a range of 50 meters. And it did it to me twice. The first time into trees and the second time into the sea. So, yes, at about 50 meters distance. And it was not the antenna because I'd swapped the antenna after the first random failsafe into the trees. And yes. Actually, there's a reason I can't find my Alpha flight controller. I destroyed the Alpha flight controller the same time I destroyed this. I've just remembered. So, yes. Now I remember why I can't find the Alpha flight controller. I still have the... do I still have the contents of that death on here? That death that happened. I'm trying to see. I know I've got it. Was it this one? I called it Avatar Crash. Yes, here it is. Here's the aftermath. Oh, yes. So this, if I'm right, this will be the flight. This is the first flight where it... This is the flight where it fail-safes into the ocean. Moved around and... Oh! Fail-safe. Into the water. Here's something interesting when you look at that, right? Look at that avatar goggles footage. Those 04 Pro. Jesus wept. Now this is where I talk about high frequency noise. All of this is high frequency detail. Look, all of this is high frequency detail. Turned around and it's bugger. Do I have the goggles recording? Because I did have the goggles recording. I can't remember if I did. The best footage is it under the water, because it was literally under the sea. Should be that one. No. There it is. That's where Alpha ended up. Let me mute that. It is there, look. Brand new build, brand new battery. I was trying to unplug the battery underwater. Yeah. It's definitely an odd-looking starfish. Yeah, that ended that. Yeah, well, it wasn't a brand new build. It was a brand new build within 2-3 days. But it had already fail-safed once, and I thought I'd fixed it. Because the first time it had ended up at the top of the trees, as Joseph knows. But what's interesting is when you look at the damage is just crazy. Saltwater is just insane what it does, look. Just what saltwater does in 5 minutes. 5 minutes is all I took to go get it. Look at the battery connectors. It ate away so much. I don't think there's any waterproofing that would have helped that. I don't think there's any conformal coating that would have helped this. It just ate away at everything. And it's like when you look at what it had done. Actually, I think that's a repair. I think, oh yeah, there's my alpha. I think that's my alpha. Yeah, look what it ate on the capacitors. Look, it actually eats away at any of the positive side just gets eaten away. It's incredible when you look at it. Positive pin there, look, eaten away. Again, positive pin there, eaten away. That one, eaten away. Really crazy. Really, really crazy. Yeah, having current going through absolutely contributes. Anything that was positive just fizzled. It's crazy corrosive components, not me. It's mad. Yeah, no, salt water is not good. Salt water is really not good. And I actually rinsed it in fresh water really quickly as well. But that's what it is. So, is what it is. What can you do? What can you do? Okay, so next thing we're going to talk about is this. Because, let me find the right button. Someone, I don't know if leaked is the right word. Someone sat on a live stream talking about a product last week. But look, now, there's a new box goggle coming from HDZero called the BoxPro. Obviously, I knew about this. I should have a set in the next week or so. I've lost track of what the score is. Look, I'll talk about them when it's time to talk about them. But Ryan has sort of announced it. Couple of now officially. Couple of really big features in this goggle that we haven't seen in anything else. Let me just get to the bit where he actually shows them. So Ryan now, who's officially working with HDZero, got to show them off. So they're a HDZero box goggle, BoxPro. They are, in essence, the HDZero goggle, but with a single LCD display. But what is incredibly interesting is it's 100 hertz display, and this isn't normal. It's actually very hard to get high frame rate displays, 1080p 100, but Carl has managed to find one, and that means it's going to fully support the Nano 90 mode. It's going to fully support 100 frames a second on HDMI input. Yes, they have HDMI input. In fact, they have all of the same I/O as the original goggle, including now having a built-in analog receiver, which works off one of the antennas. I think it's the left-hand one from here. Need to check. There you go from underneath. So you can see we have HDMI in, HDMI out, AV in. We've got our headphones, microphone jack, head tracking port, power port, typical HDZero switch, DVR as well. Really cool to see. It's not been a major... I wouldn't call this a review. Ryan now works for HDZero. This is an overview, is what this is. Ryan, you know, I wouldn't call it a review as such. He gives you some overview on the goggles, but really cool to see. Price is going to be $299, I believe they've said, and they're going to be available at retailers as well. I have shipping for a set, so I will have a set here to talk about and take a look at. Very interesting indeed. Very, very, very interesting. Yeah, it's an announcement. I think HDZero have wanted to try and come up with something cheap to allow people to get involved. And this is it. And it's nice that it's got analog built in, which is a real nice option as well. It's good to have a digital goggle with analog ready. You know, you don't have to bolt a module onto. You're just giving up the OLEDs. Yeah. Basically, yeah. And gaining an analog receiver. I'm trying to see, does he show anything else on them? No, there's not really a lot more to show you other than that. We've not seen the lenses. I don't think we see the lens yet properly. But yeah. But cool to see. Look, really, really cool to see. Not a lot more to say than that, other than look forward to seeing them when they come out, because that's what we're waiting on now. They're going to need a bit of testing. We're going to need to understand them. I'm really looking forward to how this LCD looks. Really looking forward to seeing how this LCD looks. Because that's a high refresh rate LCD. We haven't seen anything with that refresh rate since DJI had the 144s and the 120 hertz and the V1s and the V2s. So, yeah, very, very nice to see. I also just want to say a congrats to Ryan. Ryan is now running HDZero DiviMath USA. I've forgotten exactly what his title is, so that's bad on me. Let me just find that a second, just so I get that clear, because Carl did send it over to me. Just so I get it right. Where is it? President of DiviMath USA, just so I can get it right. So Ryan has now given up his day job and moved into being president of DiviMath USA. That's really good. Like, I first of all, massive congrats to Ryan. He's done an incredible job supporting HDZero from the start. I was always like very clear that Ryan wasn't whilst he wasn't paid before and he wasn't an employee before, he was sort of very close. So I was always saying it's hard to sort of Ryan to be completely unbiased or third party, but he's a great guy. He's done incredible things for HDZero, and it wouldn't be where it is today without the stuff he's done, helping on the Discords, the forums, getting the products out there. And look, there's no one happier than me for him. I wish him all the success. I know Ryan will make an amazing job of it as well. He's driven. He really wants it to succeed. And there is no one who believes in it more than Ryan alongside Carl. And that's what you need. You need people who believe in it. I am always blatantly clear that HDZero is the lowest latency digital FPV system on the market. It doesn't have the best image quality. That's a fact. But it is without doubt the lowest latency. It is digital. It offers something none of the others do. I wonder if he's getting paid. Well, it's his job now, so I would expect him to be. So, yeah, big congrats to Ryan on that as well. He's also put out a video on this, which is a brief video, which is a new Event Pro VRX, but he also talks about there's a mesh system coming from HDZero as well. And he actually demonstrates it here in this video. And the idea of the mesh system is it's going to allow you to put multiple HDZero receivers in different places and bring them all in together, not necessarily through RF, I will add. There is other ways of doing it. And then merge those signals together to try and get a more solid signal in an environment like this. And this looks really, really good. You know, and so instead of having a single signal, it offers the ability to place receivers in different places, and it will help with multipathing and other issues like that. So this is going to be incredibly interesting to see. We don't have a lot of detail on it. There is nothing like this out there. No one else is doing this stuff. And this is the one thing you've got to say, which is amazing for HDZero, is they are doing things. Hello, Ken. I'll say hello and thank you properly in a second. They are for doing things that no one else is doing. HDZero are delivering products in niche markets and in markets and covering situations that no one else is doing. And it's great. It really is. Decent flying, not bad. Yeah, that's for sure. But it's just how good it looks as well. And I think the mesh system is going to be incredibly interesting. Incredibly interesting based on the fact that it basically doesn't add any latency. So that in itself is incredible. Mesh system, no increase in latency. What's not to like? Very, very cool. And if we just go back to this screen, you can see there the image of it, this new hiding down there. Looks like one of those boxes you plunge and goes boom. Yeah, there are some things that Ryan has told me, but I don't know if I'm allowed to say them, so I'm not going to say them. But it sounds really cool. There's nothing I thought went, oh, that's a bit strange. Everything was like, what? How's that work? How's this do? I had a call with Ryan last week as I was driving back, and yeah, they were also flying with the box goggle at the event as well. Yeah, so it's really cool indeed. Right. Thank you, Ken, for the $10. Thank you, Ken. I hope you're well, my friend. Have you got the channel sorted? I hope you have. I hope you've got it. I was aware, but I haven't. I'm out of things a little bit at the moment, and I hope you managed to get your life back, your life's work back. For those who don't know, Ken had the dreaded, the thing that scares me to death happen, which is your channel get hijacked by a bunch of cryptos gets. And look, for me, if that happens, it's game over. It is literally game over. I don't think I recover from it. I just don't see. I am so paranoid about it. Yeah. And it's horrific. If that happens, the Linus thing happens, just, I can't imagine it. I just can't imagine it. And I still struggle with how YouTube allow this to happen in this day and age. How they even allow it to happen. Yeah, look, Sean did mention it to me, Ken, that it happened. And I was like, holy shit. And changed all my passwords. And he said he was helping you with it. And I'm glad you guys got it sorted. I just don't understand how it's possible. I just don't understand how YouTube even allow it to happen. It's really simple. You shouldn't be able to delete or move more than one video. You shouldn't be able to make mass changes on the account without major reauthentication. It's just insane. Question, can the Goggle 3 antennas be changed in the same way as the Integras? Basically, yes. However, they do have different connectors now, I believe. It is one of the smaller IPX connectors. But in essence, yes. If you watch my Goggles 3 teardown, you can swap out, ignore the 2 in the headband. So there's 6 antennas in these. I'd ignore them and I would just swap out those 2. Yeah, look, it is so easy. I don't know how Ken got it happen. If I'm going to put money, it was probably an email, probably from a vendor saying they want to work with you and they've sent you something. I receive so many emails that look legit in almost every way. They look legitimate. And unless you really start to dig into them, and in fact, I'm just at the stage that I don't open anything. I just delete them. And I probably delete things from genuine companies who want to work with me. But I just don't trust anything anymore. You just can't. But I get emails all the time, and I just delete them now, and probably I'll never end up working with a company again as a result of it, because the risk is just too high. Just too high. Okay. Hello, Ryan. Better to buy Neo or a 2-inch whoop with 04 light? If you really want to learn to fly, a 2-inch whoop. HDZero goggles release a couple of weeks, I think, now, before we start to see them. Mistall, what's the 03 and Vista link about? In short, it's no longer available. It's end of life. You won't get them soon. That's it in short. DJI will no longer be sending. They will no longer be manufactured. There will be no announcements, but stock is running out everywhere. Don't ever expect them to see them again. So for Vita, and we'll talk about this at the end. Yeah, no, you're right, Josh. You just got to be so careful. Is it still okay to buy BL Heli FCs today? If it's BL Heli 32, I wouldn't touch it with a barge pole now. Remember, BL Heli S is open source. So any news about GX12 in Europe anytime soon? No, I think look, the complications are around the chipset. What is the new G3 antenna connector? Well, there's no connectors on these. These are all hardwired. Buy 04 or wait for 09. 09 is going to be amazing. So, that's HDZero. We look forward to seeing it when it comes very, very soon. The next thing we're going to talk a little bit about is these. Now, this week there's been sort of two hints from companies. Runcam is one, who are hinting at something new coming soon. It looks like a new ear unit. It's got the WifiLink logo, and if you actually go on to a sort of increased image, you can see that there appears now to be a new design ear unit. There's still a fan on it located down there from the look of it, but it now looks to be a more custom designed unit rather than the crap show we had the first time, although that was a beta test unit. Which is based on WifiLink, which they call their OpenIPC system. So we're going to guess this is based on OpenIPC. There's also been something from Emax as well. So what looks to be a proper WifiLink, that looks to be MMCX when we look at that down there, which is nice to see. Emax USA has something exciting in the world of OpenIPC. Keep your eyes peeled. What's interesting is I'm also hearing that there's a set of goggles coming. Is what I'm hearing. If you think about it, Emax do make goggles today. If you go to Emax's website, I have this kit in, but I just haven't been able to get the grips with it properly to make a video. I'm not comfortable with the performance of it in any shape or form that I'm happy to make a video about it. I'm just not. It doesn't work properly in my tests so far. But if you look, Emax does make some like very basic box goggles. So when we go to drones, what we got here, electronics, FPV goggles, they do make some very cheap and basic goggles. I would not be shocked to see Emax like make a digital version of some of these. I'm certainly not expecting Emax to bang out a set of HDZero DJI Avatar HD style goggles. I would expect it to be something a bit more basic. That tends to be what Emax do. But let's wait and see. You never know. We could be wrong. I know the hat is coming for the Reduxer very soon. I don't know if any images of it have been released, but I know there's a Reduxer hat coming for OpenIPC to make a nice VRX module, which will improve things. That's pretty much all there is to show on this right now. You know, you do have the WifiLink, but I've not been comfortable with any of the performance of the WifiLink so far. It's just not in a position where I'm happy to talk about it. It doesn't work at a level. I'm not going to sit here and talk about a product that basically doesn't work properly and I don't think you should buy yet. I'm not going to review it. I'm not ready to talk about it. I will be ready to talk about it when it gets to a certain stage. I'm not in to talk about things. I'll talk about it on like here and I'll explain it on live streams, but I'm not going to make a dedicated video yet shitting all over it because it's not the right thing to do when it might change. It's getting better. I'm still having really weird issues on my build that it basically locks up the second I take off, no matter what VTX I put on it. I don't get this problem on any other digital system. It'll behave for 1 to 2 seconds and then lock up. And I'm still having that problem. So we've got a couple of new things coming from them. This looks a lot more of a polished product, which is good to see, as does this. So hopefully we're now going to start to see sort of the hardware tidy up. I did discuss OpenIPC a little bit on, look, there's loads of changes happening. I think the Pi hat will be good because that will give HDMI output, which means you can connect it into any of the goggles. Emax goggles aren't great. Slap a module on my HDZero goggles. Yes. A VRX. That's basically what the Redaxer hat will do. So the hat for the Redaxer will basically turn it into a VRX. That's basically it. You'll take your Redaxer board, plug it into the hat, 3D print a case, and that's your VRX module. The big thing that's wrong with the V1 Runcam is getting it into a frame. The design is pretty horrible. No tea tonight. I've run out of milk. I didn't get the cow early enough earlier. Transporter goggles are really dreadful. Supposed to budget friendly, but they are just way too cheap. Yeah, exactly. And look, I'm not expecting Emax to produce anything. I've not heard anything about these. Neither of these companies have contacted me to say, do you want to take a look at it? There is a better image of the Wi-Fi link in the Discord. No, in my Discord? Is it? Is there a better one in my Discord? If there is, someone share it with me. I thought that was the better image. Unless I've missed it. Ah, yes, there's a different image, which is this one here. Yeah, let me open this. There you go. There you go. So they've emailed someone to say, are you interested in pre-ordering? So that looks closer to something new. That still looks like a render to me. That is definitely a render. That is not a cable. There is no way in hell that's a cable. But this appears to be what's coming. Definitely looks cleaner. Just catching down on the chat. So yeah. Definitely interesting. We're just going to have to wait and see. I think my big concern, and funny, not so good, is fragmentation at the moment. You know, OpenIPC doesn't really have a user, a set point, a 1.0 position. I complained about this on my Discord, I just mentioned. It now needs sort of very simple setup. Get rid of all of the bloody FEC settings, and it needs like basic user presets. But we're just going to have to wait and see. Have I seen the latest goggle development by John Goblin? No, I haven't. Look, I know, was there someone community-based working on a set of goggles? Again, that's not really something I'm particularly interested in. For those who want to do a DIY, great, but DIY isn't for everyone. You know, you can't compare it to other systems when it's, you know, look, people who want to mess with something on a DIY side, it's got everything you need today. I just don't have the time to spend freaking hours and hours. I've spent more time than I have. I just don't have it. You know, I would rather spend the money on something that just works. Because time is money. And people do forget. Time is not free. A cheap digital FPV system needs to be cheap and works out the box. It shouldn't be cheap and you've got to spend the next 4 hours configuring it. because you may as well have bought Avatar or HDZero or DJI at that point. Yeah. Right, I'm just going to catch up on the super chats. Aeroscare, thank you for the £10. As I've said already, Ken Heron, amazing for the $10. Slinky FPV, $5. As always, appreciate your hard work. Thank you for that. I really do appreciate it. Right. Couple of sort of loose things that I've seen I wanted to show you. We're starting to see some TBS Mojito stuff appear. Okay? Online, which is quite cool. I really did feel for this guy that I want to show you first. This video. Let me make this full screen. This guy was doing a hand launch without a flight controller, I will add. And unfortunately, it ended badly. I really did feel for him. And yeah, that ended badly. He doesn't look like he got the launch right. It seemed to stall. But he didn't have a flight controller on board. I believe he was just doing it straight, but it's one of those things. I have seen some cool stuff, so we're starting to see images of this. This looks really cool. This is one with the LEDs in, which I think looks amazing. And this video is from Ninja Mike 85, right? And this looks amazing. So this is the Mojito on 04 on a gimbal. Okay? And this footage is just beautiful. How good this looks is insane. And he's got the 04 on a head tracking gimbal, I believe, where he can look around, or at least it's on a gimbal where he can look around. And this is just insane how this looks. Unbelievable. It's beautiful footage. I'm not getting into the legalities. We're going to not avoid that today. He flipped over and then the gimbal reset. It's not very long, this video. Dives down the clouds. Looks backwards, looks forwards, and then you can see the ground. This is on 04, apparently. It's not a lot of footage. It's just that. That's all it was. But wow. Just wow. It looks incredible. Yeah, I know. I saw this and I was like, I want one. I don't know what gimbal he's using, but I believe he's got it on a gimbal on 04. You can fly the Mojito in your bad weather, just get above the clouds. It does look amazing. And again, this is just 04 again, which just looks crazy. That dive down through the clouds. That look back is crazy. That look back. He's going down through the cloud and decides to, I'll just have a look back. Yeah, all fine. And then pops through the cloud. Now, he could be flying somewhere where that is absolutely perfectly legal. We're not going to get into that. I think it'd be fine on 6S. But I saw that and just thought, that looks incredible. You'll get condensation build-up. It does look amazing. I saw that video and I was like... I'm looking forward to getting one. Stu mentioned it earlier. He's had, I've had 3 failed launches like that. It's a beast to launch. You almost want to skid with it. Even trying to launch it over your head. So you've got it upside down like this, and then you're going to, from what I understand, the best way to launch it, let me grab something. Let me grab my AR Wing Pro. Which is a bit of a beast to launch at the best of times. You start like that. You flip it like that. And then you're then bringing a prop right over your face is what you're doing. But yeah, so the way it was said to me was start it like that. Flip it so you're like that. And then you're down like that. And then you are bringing it over your head like that. Is what I believe the recommendation is. Not an easy bird to toss at all. Not in any way. Also, no danger of losing a finger. Yeah, you just might lose a nose. That could trim your hair. Yeah. But you're then going to need enough to get it up. And then, hopefully, that's the way I launch my AR Pro. Best approach. Van roof skid. Yeah, you could, or you want something to get it up. I use a ramp of my Hilti Live to launch the AR Pro. Yeah. Launching big planes like this isn't easy. Wings, planes, it's... Overhead, I've had the most success. Yeah, I haven't flown this since I ripped the motor mount off. Unfortunately, I ripped the motor mount off this and it's sat there since. It's been re-glued now. But I ripped the motor mount off in a crash. I've now rebuilt... I've now got a new prop on there. Folding prop this time. And I'm hoping the motor mount is alright on this now. This needs an update, actually. I could do with getting this updated and getting this in the air. I haven't flown this for some time. There's a Maytech flight controller in there. So that needs to be updated, if I'm honest. That's not the TBS one, no. That's an AR Wing Pro. Bungee launcher for me. Yeah, look, can you buy portable bungee launchers? FPV roof rack. You only need a few pieces of timber, don't you? Hobby King has them, do they? Hobby King launcher. Let's have a look. Look, there's Hobby King. Pedal operated bungee launcher. On Hobby King. Ah, here we go. 50. Doesn't look very solid. I use metal corkscrew anchor. PVC tubing. Are there any videos on this? On YouTube? Has anyone made a video on this at all? Ah, here we go. Look, someone's got a video. Boss FPV. So here we go. It seemed to go all right. How often does the bungee not come off? Yeah, HDZero at the start. Or earlier back. That was what... That's what I was waiting on. How long before that happens? So what happened there? Oh dear. Yeah, that's... So what happens? It looks like the tail... Let's change this playback speed to 0.25. It looks like the tail gets caught. Let's have a look. So he releases... It pulls up at the front and the tail goes down. Oh, and it then rips the tail off, look. You can see he's ripped it there. Yeah, tail's gone. Mojito needs like 10 times the power of that. Yeah, and then it's gone, and then it comes back down. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, you need something a bit more than that. As Stu, I think, says, you probably want something a bit more than that to get it in the air. Oh, bungee, RC bungee ramp test. Let's have a look at... Oh, look at this. Ah, oh, look at this. This now. Jesus. Look at the pressure he's got on that. So that hooks to the plane. So what it's going to do is drop the thing at the end. It's going to drop the pin at the end. This is going to go, isn't it? This is going to go. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. That's, yeah, we like that. I was expecting that to be a lot more violent, if I'm honest. So what was that one there? Oh, look at him. How'd they do that one? I was expecting that one to be a lot more violent. That one worked well. Very cool. That one was very cool. Worries me with the ones that are down. You want a bit of height on the post, I think. That's why I use surgical tubing. That is sweet. That one. That went far better than I anticipated. I can't. How do you fucking go forward on this? That went far better than I anticipated. It was a lot smoother than I thought the way he was pulling that back. I was expecting that to get fucking tossed out for miles. Very nicely done indeed. Very nicely done. So, okay. Right, if you've got any questions, please do put them in the chat and I will try and answer them. A couple of other little things I'm going to pick up on which I spotted. For those who don't know, Jumper have released a new radio called the Jumper Smart. Now, this is an ultra budget radio. It's less than £50 in the UK. Bit of an odd one though, and a bit of a warning on this. It doesn't come with HDX. It has its own operating system. And it also ships with a very old version, an unsupported version of Express LRS. One of the dev teams mentioned it. It's got an artery key SoC in there. You can see the artery key SoC down there. It looks to be an incredibly cheap built radio, and it does look like a kid's toy. Agreed. Artery key SoC. Looks like it's got their own OS on it. It's not HDX, that's for sure. It's available for like 44 quid. I wouldn't buy it, if I'm honest. But I did want to warn about it. And the things to understand about it is it's not HDX and it's not supported Express LRS. So do be careful. Do be careful around that. Very weird indeed. Do I think BL Heli 32 might come back after the war ends? I don't know. I don't think there's any sight of the war ending at the moment. You never know. It's his IP. He could bring it back. It's not dead. It's closed. If he chooses to release it all again and make it available, then he could. I got one and can't bind it. It's trash. Wow. Cool colours, though. Yeah, I agree. I think the Mojito is definitely made for Bungee launching. What's wrong with AM32? Look, AM32 doesn't solve all problems for everyone. AM32 is still very raw. It doesn't have a lot of filtering on board. I know there are a lot of people who are using BL Heli 32 in some very big builds, in some very small builds, and BL Heli 32 was incredibly forgiving in how it behaved. And it had a lot of filtering on board, for right or for wrong, that would hide a lot of the issues that people were having in builds and frames. That isn't the case in AM32. AM32 is a lot rawer, and that's why you're seeing some issues in AM32 builds, like I saw with the Cinelog 30, because it was getting vibrations. There's no, AM32 is not a direct BL Heli 32 replacement. There are big differences between the way AM32 works. It's just that's how it is. It is a less developed, rawer product. It's developing all of the time. New features are being added. But there are many, many people who were relying on BL Heli 32 and would buy it again tomorrow. What is a good material to use for printing 04 Pro mounting inserts? I've designed a TPU case with inserts that should not be TPU PLA, as you mentioned, silicon. Yeah, look, it's really hard. There's very little super soft. 98A is going to be softer if you can get it through your printer. You want to go as soft as you can. I still have 5 ESCs from Fox U with BL Heli 32. Yeah, and a lot of people do. I'm still flying. Most of my aircraft is still BL Heli 32. The newer stuff isn't. I'll be honest, everything I'm building new now has all been Voltara. My last 3 builds have been Voltara. I really like the Voltara ESC. I don't care if it's open source or not. It flies okay. I like it. Blue Jay is good. Yeah. There are known issues with AM32 desync with large props. I've heard something like that but couldn't find online. Look, AM32 is not as developed on big motors, larger props and stuff like that. 21.1 or 19, I don't think, look, you can... and Kiss Ultra, yeah. I don't think, look, with Bluejay, just run what's latest is what I would recommend. And I'll be honest, I expect the Fettec to be pretty good as well. And AM32 to be pretty good. Yeah, look, I'd run what's latest in Bluejay. Try to keep the infill down as much as you can, because that way it'll be softer. If you take the infill down, it will definitely be softer. Just counting down in the chat, reading down. Did anyone see... am I going to disassemble the HDZero box goggles? Most likely, yes. I'm printing in TPE. It's lovely rubber-like. That's very cool. Did anyone see Bot Grinder's video? His digs at a few people were I couldn't help but laugh. Let's just say, and I don't mean any disrespect to the people he was having a dig at. I'm not throwing any shades there. I was just laughing, especially at the ones that Drew. You couldn't not laugh at the ones that poor Drew. Yeah. Just the digs about selling out and the eyeliner. It was just really well done. Just nothing wrong with eyeliner, but it was just really well put together. I just loved the way he wrote some of the stuff. Yeah, he is right. You don't get trolls like you used to. It was funny. I'll give him credit. It was incredibly funny. I'm bad for laughing, but you can't not. What can you do? What can you do? You gotta laugh at this stuff. I'm actually disappointed there was none at me in there. I would have loved him to have had some digs at me, just for fun. Go for it. It would have been funny. But yeah, very, very good video. I did chuckle. Someone asked me why. Someone sort of said, I just wonder why he did it, and it's just like, I'm guessing he's bored. Is what it is. Because there's not a lot going on in FPV at the moment. We're in a bit of a quiet period. You know, all the new radios are out. Yeah, fair play to him. Always fun to see something like that. It really was. I've been trying to get my head around whether I can do anything with the Snapmaker CNC. I'm still struggling with their software. If there is anyone out there with their own frame, open source frame, who's willing to share with me, or a frame they're willing to share with me the files, I want to make a video on making a frame using the Snapmaker CNC. Like, I've looked at the source 1 files, but for some reason when I'm importing the source 1 files, there are gaps in the design. And I don't know why. I think it's Luben, if I'm honest. I think Luben is not right. But I can't... Luben is really bad software, if I'm honest. It's great for 3D printing. For the CNC, it's really hard to make a go of it with the CNC with Luben, if I'm honest. It really is. Yeah, I could do it. Like, I'd love someone's design to try. I won't share it. It will be private. You know, I'm not asking for one to publish. I'll build it, and I will make a promise I will never share the file with anyone. That's how I do it. I'm just after a nice 5-inch design would be nice. It builds out like it has gaps. Source 1 V5 has a bad arm wobble. Yeah, look, Luben, which is the Snapmaker software, is pretty horrible. You can apparently use it with Fusion. I don't know how to use Fusion. I don't have time to use Fusion. I don't have time to learn how to use Fusion. And this is the problem. But there's definitely quirks to it. Luben, that's for sure. See, if I open up Luben and let's see if this software will even open. I just don't have time to learn Fusion. I can do basic 3D modeling, but not great. I can do basic, but I don't have time to sit down and design a frame. That's my problem. Let's see if this ever opens, shall we? Like I've tried, like I could do with doing a class in Fusion. I find I've looked at Fusion 360 a few times and it's just done my head in. Have I tested the Era DC frame? I haven't. Yeah, the only thing is I believe you can use Fusion, the Snapmaker with Fusion 360, is what I believe. You only have to import in Fusion, then go to machining and start your operations. It's quite easy. Yeah, I even figuring out how Fusion just freaking... Luben will take a step file, but every time I import a step file into Luben, it misses bits. I'll show you now what I mean. Let me show you. Whenever it opens, because it is the slowest program on earth to open. Way, finally. So, if we go to the desktop, I'm into Luben, so we're going to go CNC 3-axis. We'll confirm the size, and we're going to bring in... here's one of the source 1 frames, and look, here's an arm. So if I'm going to bring in an arm, right? First of all, it imports it as a vector image, which really annoys the hell out of me. Secondly, it leaves, and as it brings it in as a vector image, right? You can't edit it. You can't do bits in and out because it always brings it in as a freaking vector image, which I don't want it as a vector image. This isn't an image. This is, look at the file type. This is a DX file. Yet it always brings it in as a vector, which means you can't then choose the areas that you want to cut out. You can't switch processing modes because it doesn't give the options. If there's multiple processing modes, it will show it there, which it doesn't, unfortunately. So the only option I've got for the DX file is vector. You can't choose a different processing mode. It should list the processing modes there, but it doesn't. And this is why I freaking hate Luben. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Now, I actually had a look at the Mikera software, Mikera Cam, for the new Mikera CNC, because I have found that quite interesting. And for those who haven't seen 3-axis, so Mikera for their CNC has their own software as well. What is the CNC machine? This is a Snapmaker Artisan. You can do a step file, but the step file, I don't think I have the step for that one, do I? Let's have a look. In the Mikera software, let me show you this, right? In the Mikera software, we will bring in the same file. Actually, I need to click open. File, import 2D. We'll bring the arm in. All right, look at this, right? Somewhere on here is a gap. Oh, is the gap not there today now? Let's have a look. Let's just move this. No, not that one. Where's the option I want for moving? 2D path, transform, move. Oh, there. Let me do it on my big monitor so I can see it. Let me just do that there. I couldn't see it on that. Gaps could be for holding tabs, but the software then won't let you bloody do it. Close that. So now, can I create a 2D... Let's do a 2D path, 2D contour. We'll set the end depth at 3 millimeters. We'll leave the tool, and we're going to go on the outside of this one. Calculate. There is a non-closed gap in the graphic. Somewhere in this graphic is a non-closed gap, and it won't let you do the contour. It drives me mad, is the truth. It drives me absolutely mad. All of these CNCs, their software really lets them down. The Artisan seems fine. Just jump to the hoop and try Fusion. Yeah, I then need to figure out how to use the Artisan with Fusion. Snapmaker Artisan. VCarve works with it. VCarve is apparently very good. For anyone who's used VCarve. No, it doesn't support standard G code. This is the problem. This is the whole frickin' problem. Snapmaker use their own G code. And this is why you can't just use it with everything. Yeah. And this is apparently VCarve works well, but I haven't tried it. I actually would only need Cut 2D. because that's all I would really need. Just download the step files. Yeah, well, I've downloaded the steps. I've got the step files here. Okay, so the step file, that should be the step, is it? Let's have a look. Yeah, so there's the step file for the source 2 as an example. I've closed Luben. See if Luben reopens. I can't remember what the issue was with the step file. Let's try CNC 3-axis. Confirm the size. Let's go. Let's try that step file, shall we? For the source 2. Just as this one. Doesn't support step files. Supports SVG, PG, JPEG, bitmap, DFX, STL, 3MF, and AMF files are all supported. You just get so many stupid problems with these custom units because they just don't work with what you need. Potentially, you could slice it. I could bring it into. If I bring it into 123 design, because that's what I tend to use. Chinese CNC, exactly. It understands everything. So let's try this a second. File, open, browse, download, source 2. Let's see if this opens up in 123 design. It'll support an STL. Right, so. So if I want that part, and if we get rid of all of this, we 90 degrees. Okay. File, export, STL. Try this as the base. Let's try it as base plate. Let's try that, shall we? So, and then let's bring that into here. Loading. Okay, so we need to rotate 90. No, I don't want to do that. We don't want to rotate it that way. How do we now adjust this the other way? So we want to rotate this. We don't want to... Top. Ah, there we go. Found it. Okay. So, we've got it this way. So, if we do that again, now I know what we got. So, we're going to bring that in. We're going to orientate it top. There we go. Create a toolpath. we're going to go flat mill, target down. I'm not worried about any of that. I now don't have the option, right, to go outside the line. So now we've got the unit clicked. This is what drives me nuts. You don't get... I've now lost half the options. Someone's just said they've done that. Let me just check in Discord and let's see. Don't save. Okay, so we're going to do that and let's see if this works. So we're going to tell it to go onto the top. There it is. It is absolutely horrific. So now, look, we've got this. So what we want to do now is create a process. I need to select the object. Thank you very much. Create a toolpath. Now, look, it's only giving me carve. It has now decided that I can't have all of the other options. And I have no options for choosing outside the line, inside the line, be able to select. So for what you want to do on it is for the outside, you want to be able to say go outside the line. For the holes, you want to say go on the inside of the line. So you get all your sizing correct. So what you would usually do is select your specific area for the outside. And you say, I want to go outside the line. And for all of these, you would tell it to go inside the line. So then you have your correct sizing of your holes, your diameters, and your outside of your frame, yet it won't give me any of the options. Luben is just crap. Luben is just terrible. I wonder what 3D Mikira Cam will make of that. It's software for lasers. Well, it's designed for their CNC as well, but it's just limited. This is the problem. So if we go to 3-axis, let's see what this does, the Mikira. New project. File, import 3D model, downloads, bottom plate. Okay, so I've been able to bring the bottom plate in on this. But again, as an STL, I cannot select the outside. Certified out, fit it to screen. Let me just do it on the big screen. It's designed for a bigger screen. That little display doesn't work properly. So create a 3D path, 3D contour. Yeah, you just have a nightmare. Just useless, 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 useless. This is the problem with all of these CNCs. Or these lasers, you are limited by their software. Just Fusion. Yeah, I believe you can use Snapmaker Artisan on Fusion 3. Fusion. Snapmaker. Yeah, you can do it from you can set this printer up, this CNC up with Fusion 360. But I just need to learn Fusion 360. Snapmaker Luben. Snapmaker Luben. So, right guys, that's it for tonight's stream. I think we've covered everything. Hopefully, we'll be back same time, same place next week. You never know. We might be able to talk about something new. I can't remember what the release date is for the goggles. They might be ready for next week. End sights of the same Smart Cubico. No idea. No idea at all. Look after yourselves. Thank you to everyone for the super chats. Stay safe, and I will speak to you guys soon.